Hey, good day. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Russ-Johns with Agency 258, and this show is we're gonna review a little bit about creating content and how challenging it can be, and what it means to create content in 2018. If you're just joining us, this is Ideas That Work, where we break down a few things that we're working on, things that we notice others working on, and you know, just in our experience, what's working in the marketing world. And a lot of times we'll just discuss different ideas and topics, and we join you every single week, Tuesday at 11 o'clock Central Time. And I'm here in sunny Arizona, which is 10 o'clock Arizona time. And I encourage you to join us and share a couple of thoughts. If you're live on video at crowdcast.io/agency258, you can find us there. You can find us on the website at agency258.com. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, I just encourage you to like, share, and leave us a comment. Boom, smash it up. And also on YouTube, if you're a YouTube fan, this broadcast is also rebroadcast on YouTube. So there's absolutely no reason why you don't have access to this program and some of the things we're talking about. And if you would like us to talk about some other things, maybe you have a topic that we haven't covered yet. Maybe you want us to talk about something that you're interested in, and we may have an opinion about, or we may have some ideas or experience around. Drop us a line. You could join our newsletter. You could connect with us on agency258.com. We would love to see you there. So driving down the road and getting involved and thinking about, okay, am I going to listen to a podcast or a radio station? A lot of people have this thing, and I want to transition here because I started advertising in outdoor advertising. And nowadays, it's really interesting to see how you can actually see the digital online world produce results that you can measure. And so it's really cool. Recruiter Zone. Fantastic. Hey, thank you for joining us, Recruiter Zone. I love the fact that people can come in on the show. If you go to crowdcast.io/agency258, sign up and register for our next program. Love to have you here. Love to have you join us. And it would be great to be able to have, some people. We want to interview this year. And so I'm getting off track again, but thank you for being here. And it's really great, Recruiter Zone. And what are you interested in hearing about? What are you interested in learning more about? And we want to share these ideas and these thoughts, because every week we create a blog post, we create this show, we create a podcast, we create a YouTube episode. All of these things are part of the content creation process. And also over at LinkedIn, I'm running an experiment about creating a video every single day. Yes, every single day. And I post that video on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook Live. So something I wanted to talk to you about is based on our last post. And our last post is about creating content and creating a workflow to save your sanity. Wouldn't that be awesome? It's like some people get terrified about creating content. They get terrified about, oh man, I got to do all of this work, and I got to create and do some some more stuff, and I got to get back and forth, and I got to post it here. I got to edit it. I got to create images, all of these things. And it's just really overwhelming at times. And I just want to kind of step back and walk through this so we could remove some of the overwhelm. Sound fair? Sound fair? So, like I said, if you're listening to this podcast in the future, you could go back and some of this is outlined in a blog post called, and the blog post is actually called Creating Content Workflow to Save Your Sanity. I mean, it's pretty simple. So let's kind of walk through this a little bit. And I just want to make sure. And this is something that I struggle with personally, because every time I turn around, there's a shiny object, and I love the creative process. I create something every day at some point in time. And the creative process for me is about curiosity and discovery. And the downside of curiosity and discovery is that if you're working toward a single purpose, a certain goal, like we are at Agency 258, it's really difficult, because one of the things that I really like doing is creating different things. And so, what is Agency 258? What is our goal? What is our mission? What is our agenda here? And so our agenda is to help you, the business owner, develop your platform and follow up with your leads, follow up with your community, your tribe, anything that you want to call them, your community, and build a relationship. 2018 is the year for a relationship, and we've talked about this on other shows. But have a goal. You might decide that your goal needs to get in alignment with what you're passionate about. So you may decide to blog if you can write, even if you can't write. I'm a terrible writer, and I use tools that allow me to continue to upgrade my writing skills. Tools like Hemingway app, tools like Grammarly, even as simple as spell check. So those are tools that you can use to improve your skill. It's like, hey, pro athlete never got up out of bed and boom, was a pro athlete, right? So it takes practice. There's no shortcuts. You have to do the work, and you have to improve. And the most important part of working on a skill set is starting. So pick a goal, any goal. Just say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast, and try something for 90 days. 90 days, gives you a very good idea. And you don't have to do a blog every day. You don't have to do a podcast every day. You don't have to do anything every day. What I do encourage you to do every day, though, and what Agency 258 can help you do, is make progress every day. Learn a little bit about your craft, learn a little bit about your skill, focus on getting some results, baby steps, have one conversation with somebody. So whatever media you select, have a goal and have a way to measure that goal. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it, right? So break down. The next process is to break down each goal into a series of steps. Okay, I have a goal of making X amount of money, or I have a goal of reaching so many people, or I want to grow my list to X number of people. So systematically work backwards and say, okay, if I need to achieve this goal, let's say I want 1,000 people on my list. Okay, so start out with a very simple task. Invite the people you know immediately to get on your list. So I encourage you to go to Agency 258. At the very top of the header is our newsletter. So, we're not going to spam you with a bunch of stuff, buy my stuff. What we will do is provide you with a lot of information. sidebar. I want to talk about this. Is remind me at the end of the show. I'm going to talk to you about the newsletter. Okay, so don't go away. I'll talk about that at the end. It's some exciting stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So invite people onto your newsletter. So then you can actually say, okay, engage with them, have a conversation with people. So for instance, you get 100 people, you have a dozen friends. They have a dozen friends. Just start growing this. People are going to drop off, and then you're going to bring new people on. And it's an evolution. It's just like, going to high school, going to college, dating. It's a relationship. Have a relationship with your community. And when you start creating content that to your community, they will stick around and wait for the next article or the next podcast or the next show or whatever it happens to be. So just keep creating with that goal in mind and saying, okay, I have a target of 1,000 people on my email list. If you have 1,000 fans, you're going to do okay, right? You create some products, you have some information, and you're going to share that information. So the next thing, just break it back into little baby steps. Okay, I need an email. I need a process. And then create ways to measure results. Say if I send out 1,000 requests, I get 20 signups, or whatever the number happens to be, or I get 1,000 signups. I don't, you might be more popular than I am. And so just say, okay, if I do A, what is the result of A? What am I going to do? Right? And so work backwards. So you're saying, okay, if I send out this many emails or have this many conversations, this is the result I get. And then you can kind of measure. So, okay, if I want to increase that number, how much do I need to increase A to increase B? And so one of the things that I'm really focusing on in 2018 is, kind of reviewing the results, because I love creating. I create stuff just because I like to create stuff, and I don't always focus on who I'm creating results for, and that's a downside. That's a challenge that I need to get. And the people that are doing the best work are creating for a very specific audience, a very specific audience, and they're creating results for a very specific person in mind, and that's their audience. And I'm working to improve in that area, because I'm creating. I could wake up one day and create for one person, and tomorrow could be a different person. And so my personal goal is to improve my focus to our audience and defining that audience and increasing and improving that result. So that's my personal goal. So with that in mind, you got to review your efforts, you got to review your process. So, and don't be vague. Don't be vague about the tasks that you create, like post on social media. So, okay, well, how many times are you going to post on social media? When are you going to post on social media? How are you going to post on social media? What social medias are you going to post on? The more specific and the more detail you can put in your tasks, the more results you're going to have when you go to measure those tasks and those outcomes, right? Let me say that again. The more detailed the task and the outcome that you go to measure those outcomes, the more detail you can put into that, the better you can measure it. So if I say post on social media, how am I going to measure that? So people fall into this trap of saying, I'll just post a couple things here and there and it'll be good. So, well, it's not. The changes that are taking place, just alone last week or last couple of weeks, I don't know, Facebook changed their structure, and organic growth is not really organic anymore. It's paid for. So anyway, I'm off on track again. See, squirrel. So the big takeaway: develop a workflow, be very direct about the tasks required to measure success, make it a plan, and focus on steps to improve your skills and to continue to improve your workflow. There are things like right now, like I mentioned, I have this little thing. It's posted on Reviewed by Russ, on my Reviewed by Russ Facebook page. And I use a software called Ecamm Live. Now, Ecamm Live I think it costs $40 one time, $40. And you can actually set it up. It's only for Mac. Sorry, not a PC hater. I just happen to have a Mac. So you could set this up and it will stream live to your Facebook page. And once that's completed, you can actually attach the software to your YouTube page so that video can actually go automatically. You click a button and it goes to your YouTube page. And it also downloads to your local computer. So your file is there so you can upload it to LinkedIn. So I do a 2-minute tip. Usually it goes about 5 minutes. And then the next thing I know is it takes me about 10 minutes to finish the show. So 10 minutes, and I'm posting every single day on 3 platforms. So to me, that's a workflow, right? And then I can go back and I can say, okay, the video's the same. The video's absolutely the same. And I guess I could upload the audio to a podcast too, couldn't I? Okay, so, and I'm not concerned at this point in time about really nailing the content. It's just my stream of consciousness, which people love it or hate it. And I'm building my workflow out. And that may not, you may be a perfectionist and you may not be able to do that. Get past it. Start creating. Gives you something. By starting, it gives you something to work with. So if you don't start, you have nothing to work with. So you can't measure it. You can't improve it, right? So, come on. So I just want to encourage you to get started. So just like that example, use a routine like every single week. Agency 258, we have a blog post created by Sunday night. So a blog post is created by Sunday night. And, we fall down on occasion. It doesn't happen and we get busy or something happens or we're sick or, like Harvey happens or, freezing weather or something, that causes a disruption in our lives. So we're not too pressured with, not being perfect. So perfection kills progress, right? So use a routine though. Every Sunday night we have a blog post. And then Monday, a newsletter goes out. Marian's really phenomenal about getting a newsletter out every week. And she reminds me, it's like, hey, Russ, is the blog post done? So she gets the newsletter out. And then every Tuesday we have this show. We've been doing this show for a year. So every Tuesday, this show comes together, Marketing Ideas at Work. You can find it on agency258.com/show. And so if you follow us, if you're interested in this workflow, and then after the show, what I do with this information is I take this information and I send it off to YouTube. I create our podcast from this, and it's uploaded to our website. So I'm just thinking to myself, that's a routine. We've been doing this for a year. So it's like clockwork now. It's just like a machine. The gears go in, the gears go out. Gets a little oil now and then. We improve it, we measure it, and it's a routine. So we make it a habit and we repeat it. Successful people are the ones that are doing routines every single day to make progress on their goal. So, and everyone experiences tough times. It's tough to keep going. Like I mentioned, we're far from perfect. And there are times where we haven't created a weekly show, and it kind of breaks the workflow, and that's okay. Forgive yourself, keep going, pick up the slack. Just because you fail today doesn't mean you don't need to go back and start tomorrow, right? It's like, I don't know about you, but my inbox is filled with, hey, New Year's, last chance. We're going to close now. It's like, no, it's tomorrow is another day, and we'll keep going. So focus on what you're doing, measure what's been done, create a routine around it, keep going, keep improving those routines, measure them, and add them to workflow. So results, they will appear. So, words, images, audio, and video. You can't measure it if you can't improve it. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Did I say that right? If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And so track your progress for the biggest bang. What is doing something for you? Is it, are you getting things out there? Identify what works and what works for your goal. Remember, we started with our goal in mind. What is our goal? What is the routine and the workflow and the tasks that define our success for that goal? Am I doing what I need to do right now in order to accomplish my goal? If the answer is no, maybe you need to reconsider what you're doing and spending your time on. We only have 24 hours a day, so we only have the opportunity to use those 24 hours to either work towards a goal or just breathe air, right? So be accountable. One of the things that I believe in, and I'm involved in this, is an accountability group. There's people out there saying, hey, what are you going to accomplish this week? I have a task and I'm going to accomplish this, and my week is designed around producing that result. You getting that goal in mind, accomplishing that goal every single week. It could be a different goal each week. It doesn't have to be the same goal. And I'm accountable to somebody that. Masterminds are a great tool. I encourage you to think about being in a mastermind or creating a mastermind. If you want to create a mastermind, talk to us about it. We can help you with that. And the reason is, and I don't know if you've experienced this, I would really encourage you to think about a mastermind for the simple purpose of, when you're a content creator, you're working online, or you're trying to build a platform and an online offer or a product or service, or even a traditional brick and mortar. As an entrepreneur, there are times when you get down, when you feel like, oh my hell, what is going on here? Why? I just feel so alone. And you're alone, and you're not alone. And a mastermind group can help pick you up, help you, share your successes, encourage you, help you be accountable as well. And so you can brainstorm about ideas that may or may not fit into your goal. So the more you can get crystal clear, and I'm preaching this to myself. The more you can get crystal clear on your goals, your tasks, workflows, all of these things have to work together And they have to find a place that fits your style, fits your personality, fits who you are. And the closer you can get to who you are and what your goals are, the better you're going to flow. You get a flow going on. So I'm not going to get too woo-woo. However, I believe that there are times where you feel like time just goes away. You're in creating something, and when you're doing that, it doesn't matter. Time does not seem to matter. You could do that all day long and forget about food, forget about sleep, forget about anything. And when you're in that groove and when that flow and that experience happens, you know that's something you were meant to do. At least that's my opinion. So that's my belief. And there's a couple of things creating for that's me. Creating is that's my jam, right? So be accountable. Find somebody to help you be accountable. Help you find somebody to pick you up when you're down. Rationalize when you have a wild idea. Give you perspective when you need it. There are always going to be times when you have to decide what's the next important thing to do. So having some other people around you, even if they can be virtual. With technology today, you can have anybody around the entire planet. It doesn't matter. So what is the task that is going to provide the best result for you today? A lot of successful people, they get up and they say, hey, I got 3 things I'm going to accomplish today. Once I'm done with those 3 things, it could take them 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 15 hours. They're going to accomplish those 3 things. And after they're done with those 3 things, they're done for the day. So just something to think about. Another thing that I wanted to recap on our newsletter. I mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to come back to this. I think I've beat up the workflow and the tasks and the agenda and the accountability and all of those things. So again, agency258.com/show. Join us every single week. We're here. So I wanted to touch base on our newsletter real quick, is that one of the things that we're starting to incorporate is that, I'm here in sunny Arizona. Marian's in Houston, and she's going to be in Dallas today to an event. And so as we meet interesting people and we start connecting our resources, if you look at our amount of resources we have, if we can't help you with something, we know somebody that can help you with something. Between the two of us, we've been networking for years. So if we, Agency 258, if there's something you need that we're not necessarily going to be best at doing for you, there's a high probability that we can actually discover somebody to help you or introduce you to a resource that we have and know about that we can actually share with you, introduce you to them. So in our newsletter, we're actually publishing interesting people that we meet along the way and dropping them in the newsletter. So those are resources that you can benefit from by knowing them, connecting with them, and increasing your relationships in the community around business. So I'm Russ-Johns. This is Agency 258 and marketing ideas that work. So the big tip today and the takeaway is have a goal, create some tasks around that goal, create your workflow, develop some habits, and keep going. Keep on creating. So until then, till Till next week, I encourage you to enjoy your day.